were angry, but still, no one suspected the big woman who cooked at the T-junction. One woman in the market, Mama Ogenevo, who also sold food, could not let her jealousy rest. Her pepper soup used to be the pride of the junction until Sisi Iyanga arrived, and now she often sat all day trying to finish her pot while Iyanga's stand overflowed with customers. One evening, as the sun sunk and the raffia roofs glowed red, Mama Ogenevo saw Sisi Iyanga pack up as usual. Her pots were already empty. She tied her wrapper tightly and muttered, "Today I will know her secret." Leaving her own food unsold, she slipped away from her store and followed quietly. She kept her distance, ducking behind trees, hiding whenever Iyanga paused. The path was lonely, winding past yam barns and into tall elephant grass. The evening air was filled with the croaker frogs and the hiss of insects. Mama Ogenefo's heart beat fast, but she pressed on. Finally, Iyanga reached a small hut hidden at the edge of the bush. Smoke drifted lazily from its roof. She pushed open the crooked wooden door and stepped inside. Mama Ogenefo crept closer, holding her breath, and peered through a hole in the mud wall. What she saw turned her stomach. Inside, the floor was littered with bones, small bones, unmistakably children's. Some were fresh, some old and blackened. By the fire sat a large clay pot bubbling with a dark red stew. Around it hung scraps of wrappers and sandals too small for any grown person. Iyanga bent over the pot, humming to herself. She sprinkled powder from a calabash and whispered incantations. It was no witchcraft for power, no. It was juju for money. A charm to make her food irresistible, to keep her customers loyal, and to turn human flesh into the meat that filled her generous plates. Mama Ogenefo's hand shook violently. She stumbled back, covering her mouth to keep from crying out. Her chest was heavy with terror and rage. She knew now why meat was never scarce for Iyanga, why her food seemed sweeter than everyone's else, and why the town's children never returned. By the time she reached the market square again, night had fully fallen. Lanterns flickered and traders were packing up. Mama Ogenevo burst into the meeting place where the market chief sat, a gathering of respected elders who oversaw all dealings in the market. Her wrapper was half loose, her voice shaking as she cried out, "Chiefs, I have seen it with my eyes, the missing children. Sisi Iyanga is the one. She uses them for her stew." The chiefs frowned, murmurs rippling among the crowd. At first, some dismissed her as jealous, but when she described in detail the bones, the wrappers, the bubbling pot of blood stew,